welcome to another episode of Lazio Lounge. Finally, the first away game Lazio won in Serie A. It's the second consecutive away game that Lazio win, because obviously you can remember that we win in Hamburg against Dinamo Kiev in the Europa League. So we had these 3 consecutive away games, and we said these games will tell you much more about this team this season, right? And after these 3 away games, considering the Europa League, we got 6 points. Honestly, against Fiorentina, we deserve more than a defeat. So overall, can we be pleased about this performance in the away games, remembering how bad this team have performed in the past away from the Stadio Olimpico?
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of a classic, banana skin fixture list, going away to Torino, especially at this particular moment in time when they're top of the league, scoring lots of goals, looking pretty confident. We spoke a little bit before about the lunch match and the way that they can be quite difficult to get into. But yeah, I mean, performance-wise, great. I mean, Lazio continuing to do what they do, all-out attack, full of entertainment. It's kind of terrifying to watch at times, but in a way, although this finished 3-2 and there was a red card to the opponent manager and so on, it did actually feel like a relatively controlled win for Lazio, and definitely deserved one. But best of both worlds, because Lazio won and the Scottish player scored. So, got to be happy with that.
Yeah, I was going to message you when he scored, obviously. Before we talk about the game and the performance, here in Rome, everybody was talking, newspaper, etc. This is the starting 11 of Lazio. This is the best option for Marco Baroni, the 11 that started against Torino. Do you agree on that? So do you think Lazar is the starter, Isaacsen is the starter on the right, etc.? And do you think this is the best formation we can pick?
The one for me that's still a question is who plays on the right wing, because Isaacsen has had his chances there, Joan has had his chances there, Noslin has had his there. That's the one, I guess, that's up for grabs. And I don't think we really saw anything in particular on Sunday that would change that. I mean, all those players independently have had their moments, but none of them, I guess, have enough consistency in the way that, Tati has, for example, to say they're nailing down that spot. So yeah, and I think otherwise, yes. I mean, maybe there was a question over Gila's spots, whether Patrick can put pressure on him there, but beyond that, yeah, it kind of does pick itself. To the Lazio question for sure, because I think he's seen as a key part to this team attacks, and between him and Tavares, Lazio are offering a hell of a lot of from defense from further back. So I think Lazio's probably been one of the most improved players so far under Baroni, because I think he suits this kind of football.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about the result 3-2, but can we say honestly that Lazio deserve much more? I thought we had 3 huge opportunities in the second half, and even in the first half, we dominated the game. This could easily finish 4-2, 5-2 for Lazio, right, Alasdair? Or I'm exaggerating a little bit. I mean, the Castellano chance is unbelievable. To be honest, the goalkeeper made an unbelievable save in that circumstance, but the Romagnoli one was incredible. So probably the best game we saw so far, even defensive, because yes, they scored 2 goals, but they were weird goals, right? Strange opportunities, strange things happen for Torino to score those 2 goals.
Well, the Adams one was, I just don't really know how he got it through everyone. There was I'm not that worried about the defensive structure per se in that one, because there's a kind of wall of 5 guys or something in front of him. He somehow manages to to squeeze it through a gap somewhere. And yeah, the Coco one at the end is just kind of Philip Mexes style moment of quality. But, Providel did make a couple of good saves in the first half, particularly. There was an excellent save. So I think Torino fans may well say the same thing. They could have had more than 2 goals in this game. I just think ultimately there's no point really with this style of play that Lazio have got in going through it on a case-by-case basis like that, because the opposition are always going to get chances, and ultimately we just have to hope that everyone gets what they deserves, because Baroni is not apologizing for the style of play. In fact, he's saying he wants them to do more of it, and he's very open about the fact that this team is going to concede goals, and that's ultimately one of the risks of adopting this style. I think the thing I liked more watching this game was I did feel, and also off the back of the Dinamo game, I do feel like they are starting to find a bit more balance in the system and maintaining that intensity and attacking endeavor, but they look a bit more complete as a team. I saw fewer kind of wide open spaces than we did to begin with.
Yeah.
And, the balance seems to be coming. Obviously, you look at the league table and you see that Atalanta are the only team that's conceded more goals than we have. But at the same time, you have to consider that it's a match-by-match improvement that's taking place here. So, yeah, I mean, it's a long-winded response. I think we could have won this game more comfortably. You're right, but the fact that Coco's goal came so late is also part of that.
Yeah, talking about Atalanta, I thought they had the worst fixture so far. I mean, they played against Inter, Bologna, so they had that tough fixture. So maybe that's the reason why they are 7 points less than last year. They comparing the table. So this maybe is one of the reasons. But I thought Rovello had another terrific game. He played really well in Europa League, and yesterday again another incredible performance. I think he's getting a little bit more used to the system, and you can see him playing much better. Obviously, Guendouzi had a very good game. He finally scored. It looks like he's going to score only against Torino. So we have another guest in the podcast. But yeah, I thought our midfielders played really well, and they're probably going to be the balance. They're going to give us the balance, right? Helping our strikers and our defense when we need to defend, right?
Yeah, the thing I found funny was Guendouzi saying after the game, I want to add more goals to my game. Kind of like, God, absolutely everyone is just thinking about scoring goals at the moment, aren't they? So it's true he doesn't chip in with that many. So it was nice for him to get one on the boards. But I don't think necessarily that needs to be his priority. I think those two guys have got a huge job on their hands and just kind of controlling the center, that park, and maintaining that link between the defense and attack. But yeah, Rovella, like you say, I think he has found his feet in this team quite nicely. There is still a concern, I do think, in terms of quality of depth and the amount of fixtures, all the stuff we've spoken about already. But the good thing is that the quality of performance isn't an issue. Those guys are performing well. And I think on an individual basis across the team, most players are performing pretty well, better than expected. We've not always had the results. If you look at the league table, obviously it's been a mixed bag. But on an individual basis, I think you've got to be pretty happy with how everyone's contributing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the only game we didn't play well and we deserved to lose was the Udinese away game, where Lazio didn't show up. Against Fiorentina, I already mentioned it, but Lazio played better and should have won that game. Were you surprised that Castrovilli didn't start? I mean, he's not playing in the Europa League. We know it. He's not on the list. So I was thinking, well, Baroni is mentioning turnover. He started against Fiorentina. I thought he could start even yesterday against Torino. But I think Torino is don't know if probably a fast-paced team that would create more issue for Castrovilli compared to Fiorentina. Do you think that's the reason why he didn't play, or it's just putting the best players available?
Yeah, I mean, I doubt he's seen enough from Castrovilli yet to see him as someone who he can regularly rotate into playing that role, as one of the two in the middle. Perhaps surprised to not see him come off the bench, because they did change to a 4-3-3, like an actual 4-3-3 with three midfielders this time, and he wasn't one of them. So yeah, Castrovilli is one to keep an eye on, because obviously there was mixed response to the time that he did start. He's been excluded from the European list. There's always the questions about how fit he is, what state he's in. So no, but I mean, ultimately, I do think it's just that Torino are top of the league. It's an away game. It's actually currently one of the biggest fixtures you're going to get in Serie A. So he probably just thought he needed his strongest 11 out there. And Nice coming on Thursday is probably more of an opportunity to give game time to fringe players. Granted, Castrovilli can't be one of them, but to other fringe players than Torino is. But Nuno Tavares, Vittorio, can I just say, I mean, what the hell has happened to this guy? He's been unbelievable, hasn't he?
Yeah, terrific player. We have to talk about his weakness probably as well. He's not defending that well, right? The first goal, he should have been closer to your friend, because inside the box, you cannot give. Even if you're Scottish, you cannot allow him to have 1 meter. You cannot give him all that space, right? You can come even from Edinburgh, but you need to mark him. So
hey, listen, when he plays for Scotland, you can give him all the space he wants. He's still not going to score.
So that's the issue. But he's top assist of the league, Nuno Tavares, and he should be, a right back, a left back. So it's terrific. And the first assist was a smart ball, because he saw that Castellano went too deep, so he looked back and served the ball to Guendouzi, who, to be honest, didn't have an amazing shot. He was very central, but the goalkeeper was a little bit. I think the defender deflected slightly and was in front of the goalkeeper, so Pagliari didn't see the ball. But I mean, who could expect Nuno Tavares to have such an impact, right? 4 games, 4 assists. Incredible.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I asked a friend of mine, an Arsenal supporting friend of mine, about him, because I was like, this guy is unbelievable. What happened? Why did Arsenal let him go so easily? And I think it sounds like it was the kind of thing we're talking about, where basically they could see his quality going forward, but when it came down to it, there was a feeling they couldn't trust him defensively or in a more structured system, I guess. So like I was saying about Lazio, I think the same thing applies to Tavares. This style probably suits him better than, like, for example, I don't think he would have fitted in well with Sarri, who would want him very strict positionally, what he's supposed to be doing tactically. I'm not sure if Tavares would have enjoyed that as much.
So you're pretty much saying that that Baroni doesn't give a damn about defending. Pretty much, he doesn't need
he's basically said it, hasn't he?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, he reminds me a little bit of like the early years of Kolarov, when he would just kind of like sprint up the pitch and just hit shots from 30 meters every time, and 90% of the time they flew a million miles over the bar, but every now and then they went in. And Tavares is always trying stuff. He's like going on a big dribble into the center pitch, or he's sprinting down, or he's taking a shot from 30 meters, or he's getting crosses in the box. So like, he's ended up with the 4 assists, but he's been trying to score his goals as well, isn't he? He's not afraid to have an effort on target. Well, not on target most of the time, but
In rugby, it would have been 6 points, right?
3 points, but yeah, nice try.
Well, three is in American football. So you're telling me that Provedel is playing instead of Mandas because Provedel scores goals and Manda doesn't?
That's a really good point, actually. I hadn't thought about that. That's why he's kept his shirt in the European. Yeah.
I mean, if we struggle, Provedel, go in the box and do your best. Alasdair, we were talking about Dia because we mentioned Nuno Tavares, but let's not forget Dia scored again. 5 goals so far between Serie A and Europa League. 5 goals, pretty much playing every time as trequartista. Top scorer without playing as a number 9. That's not bad. And I was thinking yesterday, watching the game, well, Dia's not doing that much, right? He had a chance he wasted in the first half, and pretty much the goal he scored was the first touch he had in the penalty box of Torino in the second half, and he looked so calm and relaxed. Controlled the ball, watched where the goalkeeper said were, and scored. It's not easy when you're not playing great, right? To be so calm and relaxed with the ball on your feet, right?
Yeah, just on that goal, there's always this expression that commentators love to use, which is that they're queuing up to score that goal. But I've rarely ever actually seen a queue of 3 or 4 players who are all just like in a line waiting. And yeah, ultimately he's the one, like you say, who's got the composure to finish that chance. Because you can almost get distracted by having all your teammates in the way of you as well. But yeah, I was saying just before we started, I did think he was looking a bit tired, a bit leggy. I read this morning as well that he made only 20 touches, 21 touches, something like that in the whole game, something like 8 passes. So yeah, like you say, he didn't really contribute all that much. I mean, obviously he did because he scored a crucial goal, and that's what you want him there for. But in terms of contributing in the way that he has previously, connecting the midfield to the attack and playing in that deeper role, I think we need to be careful. I mean, I've said this already, but we need to be careful managing his energy to make sure that we get the most out of him. So I hope and expect he'll get a rest on Thursday. I guess the difference is the return of Tati and Noslin, who I'm sure we'll get onto. We've got other options. We don't have to play this Thursday. And Deli Bashiru obviously put himself in that conversation last time as well. But he's been playing a lot of games, Dia, and it's good to see that in a match where he's really not participated hugely, he's still able to score a goal and make a big difference. I think you got to call that positive as well.
Yeah, he did the dirty job, right? In the first half, he pretty much marked Ricci, who was cancelled by the game from Dia in the first half. So he did the dirty job and it worked. But, I mean, Baroni mentioned turnover, and I think it's time even for Dia to rest. But it's very important because you're talking about the Nice game like it's a friendly game. It's a very important game for Lazio. If we win again, we're going 6 points. So we're going to still be top of the table. And, winning away, and if we win the 4 home games, we're going to be top of the table in the Europa League. We're going to finish in the top 8, which has to be our goal in the Europa League. So I don't know. We've been talking about the importance of Europa League. I'm feeling like you are a little bit putting Europa League in the second place this season.
I'm not, but I'm saying we need to rotate the squad. We need to use the squad, and Dia needs a rest. You can take that on a case-by-case basis with the players. I'm not saying we need to put out a second-string team, but when you look at that team, you need to decide which guys have less petrol left in the tank than the others. And Dia at the moment is proven to be so important for Lazio. But if he does need an opportunity to get some energy back, then he should take it. Because, like I say, we can easily Deli Bashiru last week, for example. I don't think that's saying you're taking your opposition for granted or like a friendly match if you're playing him, because he showed against Dinamo Kiev he can make a big difference in these matches. So you can play him as your 10, and then you can have Tati as your striker, or you can give Noslin another opportunity. But I just think, looking at Dia, that perhaps now is the moment. And you're right, the 4 home games are important, but the fact that you've mentioned 4 home games, that is a reason why, obviously we would like to put ourselves in as good a position as possible, as quickly as possible. But I'd say it again, the new format does mean that you do get chances, So there's not as much immediate pressure.
Well, Noslin cannot play on Thursday. He got the red card, so I presume he's out. You talk about 21 touches. Shall we talk about the 2 touches of Noslin yesterday? I mean, that's enough to score for a number 9. What an impact Noslin had. He came in, 2 touches, 1 goal.
Was that all his touches in the whole game?
No, but he had 2 touches before he scored. So,
All right.
I didn't know if he touched the ball after that. Honestly, I'm not sure, but, not bad.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It was a nice goal. And I think it came at a good time. I mean, we were just talking about him a few days ago, and the fact that the difficulty of his start, the fact that more money was spent on him than anyone else, and everyone probably expected more of him than anyone else of the new signings. So the timing was perfect for him to get off the mark and ultimately score the decisive goal. So yeah, it's a shame, actually. I mean, again, his red card was avoidable and a bit silly in the last game.
Yeah.
And this is why it's frustrating, because this would have been really a great opportunity for him to show, come off the bench and score a goal and then get a chance to start and develop on that performance. But he's not going to be able to. But still, I mean, everyone's getting goals. They are being spread through the team, which is nice. Dia is clearly leading the way, but this has been a conversation we've had with Lazio in previous years, so much around over-relying on Ciro and Alberto, or Ciro and Sergei, or whatever, and the rest of the team not contributing too much. Last season, we were talking about how the other forwards, the wide forwards, Zaccagni and Pedro and so on, weren't chipping in with enough goals. Okay, Zaccagni isn't so far this season, but if you look across the team, we are getting goals and assists from such a range of players. And I think this commitment to getting numbers forward and creating as many chances as possible is helping with that. I do think we need to stop and give credit to Baroni, because he's not received much so far, and obviously he's a low-key coach, and he is a coach who wasn't met with huge enthusiasm when he was appointed. But he had a huge job here, and I was willing to give him patience, and I didn't expect him to start giving us these kind of performances this quickly. And obviously, I still think we're going to have dips, because I have my doubts about whether we can keep this up over months and months. But you have to give him credit where it's due. This has been a promising start, given the huge change in style and the number of new signings and things. I think he's done well so far.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to mention that this team is far from being the best in the league. We have gaps, very clear gaps. And he changed the system very fast. He's been amazing to understand and try this very offensive solution. Let's not forget that everybody's talking about the Fonseca playing 4-2-4. Well, guys, Lazio did it before, right? We are playing with 4 strikers. And even with that, we are playing great football and we are winning a lot of games. So I guess nobody was expecting to see a Dia playing as a trequartista. And again, we had so many question marks, right? Noslin, Dia, Castellanos, etc. and they're all performing at a certain level. So incredible result so far from Baroni. And can I add that I love what he's talking about, what he's saying. He said, "This is my huge opportunity. I'm not sleeping at night thinking how I can make this team perform better. I am really focused on the training, on this team, because I know this is a huge opportunity." I love it, and I love how he's thinking about the Europa League. We mention this very often, but how many times did we see a Lazio manager talking about the Europa League as a pain in the ass? Baroni is completely different. He says this is a competition. We want to go as deep as possible. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but we want to do our best. And I mean, on Wednesday, it wasn't an easy game, playing away against Dynamo Kiev after what happened on Sunday. So I really love it. He's doing massive turnover, but it works. So far, I think he did pretty much everything right. Everything. Yes, we're a little bit off balance, but I mean, this is the team available. It's not that we have Almeida and he's not playing, right? We don't have defenders, midfielders. We have, I don't know, a left back that should be wingers. We have goalkeeper that scores. We don't have defenders. So I think or you play like that or you play like that. There's not a plan B in this team.
So can I just roll a little grenade into the conversation? Ask the question that nobody wants to be asked right now. Can you give any credit to Lotito and Fabiani? Did they see this coming all along? Did they know what they were doing? All the criticism they had, all the criticism we had in the summer about these changes. Do you think they, have you changed your mind on that at all? Was there a vision here, or is this just a coincidence that it's worked?
I'm not sure there's a vision, because if there was a vision, if you sell Cataldi, you need to find a replacement. We said it. Lazio is very short-handed there. We have 3 midfielders, and I'm not 100% convinced Vecino can play there. So one of the things we have to mention is it's not that you gave to Marco Baroni the Real Madrid squad. You gave a lot of interesting players, promises, but you know how often promises don't work out. So this is even to give more credit to Baroni, what he's doing, because Chauna, at the moment, didn't perform. Isaacsen made an assist on Sunday, but pretty much that was everything he did, right? So, it's not that everybody's performing as expected. And again, Lazio was linked with Dia in June. Then everything finished. We were going for Nosling as a number 9. Then Baroni said, hey, wait a minute. He's not the perfect guy for the number 9 position. And they come back and took Dia. So I don't think there was an idea, but not a plan. Let's put it like this. Anyway, the funny thing of the anti-Lotito is like, these players are good, but who picked this player? Lotito did, right? And the pro Lotitos, when Lazio losing, these players are terrible. Who picked the player? It's always Lotito, right? So you have to give him credit to pick these players, as well as say that this roster is not probably good enough for the Champions League. We played 6 games so far, so it's very early to have an overview of where this team can finish.
Yeah, and I guess that's the crucial thing, isn't it? Because I think at the moment we generally it's quite an optimistic, positive mood after these last couple of games, but that's probably because the expectation levels coming into the season were so low on the back of everything that happened in the summer. But if you actually take a step back and think about where Lazio should be, what Lazio should be aiming to achieve on the basis of what's happened in the last 5, 6, 7 years, that is Champions League qualification. Now, at the moment, it feels like we're making great progress, but we're not. If that's the goal, if that's the bar you're setting. So we lowered the bar of expectation quite a lot after this summer, which
Absolutely.
is why this now feels like big progress, probably. Whereas, it's good to see though, like Dia coming out and saying that is the goal, Champions League, because I think it is worth aiming for that. If you're starting well, there's no reason not to have that kind of ambition. And if you say anything less than that, it's kind of demotivating for the team, probably.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we're all very happy and pleased about the performance of this team. But let's not forget, we are seventh in the table. Napoli, Juve, Milan, and Inter are already above. They are top four. Then there's Torino, who we beat, and then there's Empoli. So we are pleased, but the table is saying, wait a minute, you're not there. Absolutely, not even close, right? So we need to win the next games before we can say, hey, this is a better team than last year. At the moment, we are at the same level of last year. So, yes, encouraging signs, but Milan, Inter, Juventus, and Napoli have already proved to be above us. So, I think we are pleased because, as you were mentioning, we lowered the bar. We were thinking, hey, Atalanta, Roma, and Fiorentina would have been above us. At the moment, they are not. But we didn't improve compared to the past 2 years. We were fighting with the top guys. Now we're not. So, yes, very pleased because Noslin score, etc. Diaz, terrific. But at the moment, we are seventh. So we are not even in Europa League at the moment.
Yeah, although seventh is what, like 4 points off top at the moment. I can't remember exactly how many, but it's
Well, Inter is 1 point ahead of us.
yeah, so it's pretty tight in there. That
Yeah.
said, we've not exactly we've had some tricky games, Torino, Fiorentina, and Milan, but Milan are the only kind of big team we faced so far. So as
And
far as
Fiorentina, like I
starts go,
mentioned.
it could have been worse, and so there's some big games coming up still. Yeah, and Nice on Thursday. I mean, I had a quick look at how they're doing. They seem to have got off to a similar start, kind of mid-table-ish in France. They did win 8-0 a couple of weeks ago.
Last week, yes. I didn't see what they did this week, but
They
they
drew
drew in the
0-0 with Lens. I don't know how you say it,
long,
on Saturday. But their opening Europa League game was a 1-1 draw with Sociedad.
which is a good team, though.
Yeah.
Even though I think they're struggling this season, right?
Well, they seem to have got off to a kind of so-so start. They're ninth in the league, but they've they're unbeaten in the last three now. So yeah, I mean, I think they're a decent team. I mean, looking through their squad, Jeremy Boga, we know from Atalanta and Sassuolo, and they've got Dante in defence, who's
He's
recognised
still
from
playing. He's like 45.
Hey, trying to big them up here, right? But yeah, I mean, I think they're a solid team, not to underestimate. And yeah, I think regardless, Lazio, like you mentioned, have to target these home games.
Yeah.
6:45 kickoff is generally a bit tricky for Lazio on a Thursday in the Europa League, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of crowd they get. I really hope it's
Well,
not pathetic this time, but
we have to mention something very important this year because Lazio made this two type of season tickets. They called one the global that allows you to get all the Serie A tickets, games, home games, obviously. One Coppa Italia that is going to be against Napoli, huge challenge, and all the European League game at home. So I don't know how many season tickets holder did the global one, like I did. So you have already all the Europe League games at the Stadio Olimpico in your season tickets. So I think we should be a little bit more than in the past. Plus, they last week I think reopened the Europe League season tickets for these 4 home games. So I hope we're gonna have a little bit more crowd than expected.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I mean, I think perhaps with the new format, the fact that you're not playing every team twice does maybe help bring a bit more, even though there's so little jeopardy, and that's my main issue with this format. It does at least give you something new to look forward to in every game. So maybe that will help people take a bit more interest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Do you expect another massive turnover?
Something similar, probably. I think the team performed so well against Dynamo Kiev that I wouldn't be that surprised to see him do a similar team, and kind of back those guys to because Dynamo are a strong team as well. And this time being at home, I mean, I think the difference being I would like Dia to get a rest this time, but otherwise, the kind of Pellegrini, Marusic, and Deli Bashiru, and I think we'll probably see some of those guys come in. I'm not sure where we are with Gigo, if he's ready to get a game yet, or is he still?
He's still out. He's still injured.
Right.
But yeah, it would be good to have him at least on the bench, right? Let's not forget we said it already, but both Noslin and Castrovilli are out, so you don't have that many options, especially in the midfield. So I guess it's gonna be Vecino and one between Guendouzi and Rovella starting, because we don't have another option. I don't see Dele Bashiru playing there at the moment. Probably Dele Bashiru instead of Dia, with Castellano playing number 9. I don't know if Zaccagni is going to be rested this week. Probably Chauna on the right. You mentioned Marusic and Pellegrini, just like Hamburg. And Hill and Patrick, maybe, or Romagnoli and Patrick playing.
Yeah.
That could be the team, right? Still a decent team.
Baroni's still not taking you up on your Patrick as a midfielder option.
Well, we don't have that many options, right? So it's going to consider it going forward, I think.
We'll see. Or
maybe he doesn't score enough goals.
Mandas needs to get a game somewhere, so
yeah,
defensive midfield.
But I told you, Provedel is playing because he scores.
Yeah, especially in Europe.
Mandas has to score a goal in a friendly game before he has an opportunity.
Well, I would like to, I mean, I said it last time, but I would like to see him get chances in the Europa League, because, Coppa Italia is not, we just got Napoli in the first round. So, I mean, that might not last very long, judging by the way Napoli have started to play. So, I think if he's not getting games in Europe, we risk having a whole season of him just not playing at all. And for a guy of his age and potential, I would like to see him get some chances. So, yeah, I hope he does on Thursday.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Baroni's going to surprise us. I expect a big change in the starting 11 on Thursday. But again, it's the mentality that counts more, not the players, right? They have to come in thinking about winning the game, thinking that this is a very important game. Because again, we need 3 points. It would be so important for us to win the home game. So we talked about a lot of things, Alasdair. I think we can wrap it up here. I don't know if you have a stats ready about the Lazio. Well, we mentioned Nuno Tavares and Dia, so I think that's it, right?
Had my my Dia's touches stat was about all I've got for you, I'm afraid. But
well, the Nuno Tavares top assist man of the Serie A, which is still unbelievable. If he's a left back, but yeah. Again, everybody, thanks for listening. Please, if you can, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you can please help us, that would be massive. Thanks again to our Patreons. Remember, you can support us at patreon.com/Lazio Lounge. Membership starts at $2 a month. And we're going to be back probably on Friday after the Europa League competition. Take care, everybody. Bye, Alasdair.
Cheers.